To get revenge for his first love's daughter, my husband, Cyrus Gibson, locked our own daughter in the wolfdog kennel behind our villa. Didn't she always want me to take her to the zoo? Well, this time she can see all the wolfdogs she wants right in their kennel. My husband hugged his first love and looked at me with disgust. I beg you, there are dozens of wolfdogs in there. They'll kill her. If you're angry, just lock me up instead. He replied coldly, punishing her will hurt you more. Remember, don't bother Julia and her daughter again. Soon, a thick, bloody smell filled the air. I carried my daughter out of the kennel, her small body covered in bloody bite marks. While I waited for news of her condition, my husband's first love was posting cheerful photos of the three of them enjoying a day at the zoo. Looking at my father-in-law, Mike Gibson, who had rushed to the hospital, I cried and said, "Our 5-year marriage is over. It's time for me to go." Seeing that Mike still wanted me to stay, I dropped to my knees. "Mike, I know you care about Anna and me, but Cyrus doesn't love me or our daughter." For Anna's 4th birthday, Anna and I pleaded with Cyrus many times before he finally agreed to take Anna to the zoo. Anna wanted to take a family photo like the other kids in the kindergarten. We had just posed when Cyrus got a call from Julia, and he left. Elise, Julia Wynn's daughter, got jealous the moment she saw Anna had stuck the photo on her Mickey Mouse backpack and tried to tear it up. I told Mike everything and begged him to let me leave. This time, they threw Anna into the wolfdog kennel behind the villa. What about next time? Will Julia's manipulation push her to the brink of death? Anna's just a kid. This could scar her for life. Mike's eyes were bloodshot. "Don't worry. The day I brought you into our family, I took on the responsibility to protect you. As long as I'm still alive, I won't let Julia and Elise step all over you and Anna." Seeing that Mike was still hesitant to let me go, I took out my phone and showed him Julia's post. She had uploaded a 9-grid photo of Cyrus taking her and Elise to the zoo. The caption was, "This man took hundreds of photos for us. Why does this platform only let you post 9? I cried as I spoke. That day, Cyrus got impatient after taking just one photo with me and Anna, and even that one turned out blurry. But Anna still treasures it. Mike was furious at Cyrus and immediately called him. "I've told you countless times, Evelyn Simon is the only daughter-in-law I recognize. And here you are, acting pathetic, playing family with someone else's kid. Do you even know your own daughter is in the ER fighting for her life?" Cyrus ignored Mike and took a jab at me over the phone instead. "Evelyn, we've been married 5 years. Besides running to this old man for help, what else can you do? I had the wolfdog's teeth removed. So tell me, how exactly did Anna end up in the ER? Did she get licked too hard? Ridiculous." With that, he hung up. I wanted to ask where Anna got those bite wounds, but it got caught in my throat. Just then, the doctor pushed open the ER doors, his expression grim. My heart clenched. "I'm sorry." The patient had 2 deep puncture wounds on the artery in her neck. She lost too much blood. We did everything we could. I couldn't believe it. I dropped to my knees, sobbing, begging the doctor to save my child. "Please, doctor, I'm begging you. Help me think of something. She's my only daughter. Mike wiped his tears, pulled me up, and bowed deeply to the doctor. When they wheeled out Anna's body, I broke down at the sight of her pale, lifeless face. I held her close, my strength completely drained. "Anna, please don't leave me, okay? Don't play hide and seek with me anymore. Open your eyes, I will take you home. Please open your eyes. I'll take you to the zoo." When I saw the gaping wound on her neck, the grief hit me so hard that I passed out. When I opened my eyes again, Anna was lying quietly in my room. I quickly got out of bed and held her. I froze for a moment when I felt how stiff her body was. Mike and the nanny came in. The nanny helped me up. Mike looked like he'd aged 10 years overnight, his voice heavy with sorrow. Last night, the doctor suggested we send her to the crematorium. I'll go ask Father Eldridge to come and pray over Anna. Seeing Mike's hunched figure walking away, I felt like these 5 years were a nightmare. I had grown up in an orphanage, adopted by Father Eldridge. One day, while delivering the Bible to Father Eldridge, I ran into Mike. He thought I looked familiar and asked me to do a DNA test with his old friend, whose biological daughter had gone missing years ago. The results came back. I was the biological daughter of the Wynn family. Soon after, the Wynn family took me in, making up for all the years of suffering I'd endured, while neglecting Cyrus's childhood sweetheart and the fake daughter, Julia. At that time, the Wynn family was facing financial difficulties. Mike said he'd help, but the condition was that I marry Cyrus for 5 years. After Father Eldridge arrived, he gave me a scripture, gently wiping away my tears and offering his condolences. "I'll pray for her. It'd be best to call her father back. It's only right for him to send her off together, so there's no regret." 3 days later, according to our family tradition, Anna was sent to the crematorium. Mike, furious that Cyrus hadn't returned home for days, dialed his number. I knew Cyrus was fixated on Julia, so I stopped him. "Don't call him. Cyrus doesn't believe Anna is dead. Everything he said was unpleasant. Anna hasn't been cremated yet. She'll be sad to hear it." Anna wanted her dad's love so much when she was alive. I don't want her to hear Cyrus's nonsense after she's gone. Let's just send Anna off quietly, okay? Mike was finally moved by my words, and we took Anna to the crematorium. As soon as Anna was pushed into the crematory and the door was shut, I collapsed to my knees, crying. "Anna, don't be my daughter in your next life. You should be born into a family where both parents love each other. In that kind of family, they'll take you to the zoo, to Disneyland, to—" I finally broke down in tears. Father Eldridge helped me up, gently patting my back and telling me not to grieve too much. Mike couldn't stand it anymore. "No, that's it. I'm calling Cyrus back today, no matter what. He killed his own daughter, and he's still there with that woman and her kid. It's outrageous." Mike dialed the phone, fuming with anger. "You bastard! Get over to the city crematorium right now. You have to send your daughter off," Cyrus said irritably. "Dad, why do you always take Evelyn's side?" "What's the reason for that?" "Today's Thursday. How could Anna be at the crematorium instead of in kindergarten? I know you don't like Julia, that's why you pushed Evelyn to claim her identity and marry me. I couldn't stand up to you then. You forced me into this marriage. But I wronged Julia? Now her daughter has pneumonia. Can I even care for her?" It was absurd. His own daughter was being cremated, yet he was still regretting the past. I shook my head at Mike through my tears. Seeing that Cyrus was as stubborn as ever, Mike finally said, "Don't regret it," and hung up the phone. Anna, such a tiny little girl, was reduced to a box of ashes in my hands just 40 minutes later. I held Anna's ashes as I returned to the Gibsons' villa, ready to pack up and leave. But when I opened the door, I heard Julia's daughter calling out to Cyrus, "Daddy, can you get me a glass of water?" I instinctively clutched the urn tighter, tears streaming down my face. Cyrus lit up at the sound of Dad. "Elise, if your mother and I hadn't met at the wrong time, you would have been my daughter. You should have been calling me Dad long ago." Beside him, Evelyn clung to his arm, resting her head against his chest. "Come on, lie down. I'm going to get you some water. Take your medicine and the pneumonia will go away. Once you're better, I'll take you to the zoo to see the peacocks, okay?" Hearing this, Mike stormed in, furious. He pointed at Cyrus and yelled, "Such a disgrace. You're so desperate to claim someone else's daughter. Do you even know your own daughter is dead?" Cyrus still refused to believe it. "Dad, you must be getting senile to fall for Evelyn's act. If Anna keeps staying with her, she'll become a bad person. Might as well let Julia raise her." Hearing that, Mike exploded. He grabbed a bottle from the table and hurled it at Cyrus. Cyrus quickly pulled Julia aside to dodge. Julia shrank behind him in panic, then spotted me placing Anna's urn on the table and smiled smugly. I couldn't be bothered to listen to Cyrus's cold remarks anymore. I headed straight to the room to pack up Anna's clothes, but the moment I opened her closet, I broke down in tears. Suddenly, a loud crash shattered the air. Anna's urn had fallen and smashed on the floor. I rushed over, dropped to my knees, and tried to scoop up the ashes with my hands. Seeing me like that, Cyrus quickly turned off the air conditioner. No one knew when it was turned on. These are Anna's ashes? Impossible. I get it now. You must have gone to Father Eldridge and grabbed some ash to fake it, right? If you're going to act, might as well go all in. I underestimated you. Faking ashes? What's next? Showing me a grave tomorrow. I stayed on my knees, crying as I carefully gathered the ashes into a teapot on the table. I didn't bother explaining anymore, it was pointless. Mike, furious, walked over and slapped Cyrus twice, and then pointed at him and shouted, "You monster! Open your eyes, that's Anna's ashes!" I must have been confused back then. You never deserved a woman as good as Evelyn. And you sure as hell didn't deserve such a sweet, thoughtful daughter. Anna is gone. How long are you going to keep this up? Cyrus's eyes widened in shock. What did you say? Anna's dead? That's really her ashes? Anna? My daughter is really gone? Julia quickly tried to explain herself. I'm sorry, Cyrus. I didn't know that was Anna's urn. I broke it by accident. Cyrus staggered and dropped to his knees. Julia, you broke my daughter's urn? No way. This can't be real, right? I signed the divorce papers and threw them straight at his shocked, devastated face. Cyrus, we're getting a divorce. Mike had finally had enough. He went to his room, grabbed a stick studded with nails, and gave Cyrus a brutal beating. Cyrus was hit over and over, his back torn and bleeding from the brutal beating. Julia held Elise and pleaded, but Mike glared at her and she fell silent. Now you ask if Anna's death was fake? Do you have a heart? From the day she was rushed to the ER, to the 3 days her body lay at home, to today, her cremation, if you'd come back just once to see her, you wouldn't be asking something so ridiculous. If you hadn't locked Anna in that wolfdog's kennel behind the villa, how could she have been bitten to death? You pushed your own daughter to her death. And now, before her 7th day, you're calling someone else's child your daughter. What a fool. You've refused to accept the daughter-in-law I picked for you, and you've never adored the daughter she gave birth to. But Anna is so sweet. She has your blood in her. On Father's Day, the kindergarten gave out a craft assignment for me to help her with. Do you know what she said? Mike stumbled, wiping away his tears. Anna said she couldn't let Grandpa do the Father's Day craft because the teacher said it was a gift for Dad. The little girl had so much love for you, but you killed her, and you didn't even send her off after she died. You're a disgrace. Cyrus dropped to the ground, tears streaming down his face, his eyes red as he stared at the ashes in my hands. With a mix of emotions, he said to me, "So you didn't lie." I didn't know Anna was dead. I'm sorry. I took a step back, placed the ashes in my bag, and looked down at him. Yes, Anna is dead. The divorce papers are signed, and the divorce is officially effective. 5 years ago, Mike convinced me to marry Cyrus. A year later, my biological parents died in a car accident. Mike helped me smoothly take over my parents' company and handed me a divorce agreement that Cyrus had signed, leaving the date blank. He said he hoped that after 5 years of marriage, Cyrus would fall in love with me and that we could continue as a couple. But just in case Cyrus ever did something wrong to me, he gave me the divorce agreement so I could leave at any time. Now I've signed the divorce agreement and written the date, officially ending my marriage with Cyrus. I choked back a sob and said, I should have signed this divorce agreement a long time ago. Should have left you long ago. Maybe it was because Mike was too good to me, always standing by me and Anna, making me believe I could melt your cold exterior. Tears streamed down my face as I bowed deeply to Mike. Thank you for everything over the past 5 years. I'm sorry I couldn't remain your daughter-in-law. As you'd hoped. Then I left the Gibsons' villa, carrying Anna's ashes with me. I returned to Father Eldridge's church, back in the familiar place, breathing in the familiar scent. Memories of the 5 years of suffering in my marriage overwhelmed me, and I couldn't help but cry. Glad it was over. I cried while lighting a candle for Anna, hoping to guide her soul to the next world. Father Eldridge told me to rest in my old room. I sat on the wooden bed as my phone kept buzzing with notifications. It turned out the notifications were from the security cameras in the Gibsons' villa, which I had installed to keep track of Anna's daily growth. I opened the surveillance feed, but when I tried to turn it off, my phone's touchscreen broke. On the monitor, Cyrus was still on his knees, his face full of grief, muttering in disbelief, "Anna is dead. I killed my daughter." Julia pulled Elise to approach Cyrus, looking at him sadly. "Cyrus, the floor is cold. Your knees can't take it. Get up, please. Didn't you promise Elise you'd be her dad? It's okay. You still have Elise as your daughter. Elise, help Daddy get up. Don't let him catch a cold." Elise obediently called out Daddy and reached out to help Cyrus. Cyrus, however, pulled his arm away with a hint of disgust and asked her, "Elise, tell me, what did Anna say to you when she was holding that photo from the zoo?" Elise answered nervously, "Anna showed me the photo and bragged, saying that Daddy took her to the zoo and bought her candy. Then she made fun of me for not having a dad. I cried, ran to find Mommy, and fell down." Cyrus noticed something was off, smirked, and asked, "Why is it different from what you said last time? Didn't you tell me that Anna showed you the photo, bragged, and then pushed you, making you fall?" Elise immediately panicked and threw herself into Julia's arms, crying. Sobs, "Daddy is so mean. Mommy, what did you tell me to say last time? Can you please teach me again so I can tell Daddy?" Julia panicked and patted Elise's back, trying to calm her down and stop her from talking. She then nervously glanced at Cyrus. "Cyrus, Elise still has a cold and pneumonia. She's not fully recovered. That's why she's talking nonsense." "Listen, I never taught Elise to slander Anna. I've always told her to treat Anna like an older sister, but the problem is that Anna is never fond of Elise. It must be Evelyn who instigated Anna to bully Elise." Cyrus glared at Julia and yelled, "Enough!" He rubbed his nose in annoyance. Cyrus knew all along. So where was he all this time? Elise cried even harder. Julia hugged her, asking Cyrus in disbelief, "How could you do this to me? Didn't you say that once your 5-year marriage agreement with Evelyn ended, you'd marry me? You also promised to treat Elise like your own. Now Anna is dead and Evelyn is gone. You have no more worries. Doesn't that make it easier for you to be with us?" Cyrus remained on the ground, his eyes empty, as if he hadn't heard a single word of Julia's questioning. Julia didn't give up. She reminisced about all the moments she and Cyrus had shared and his promises, trying to reignite his love for her and Elise. But Cyrus just spoke in a daze. "Anna is dead. Evelyn has truly left me." I sneered sarcastically. "It's too late to care." At that moment, Cyrus's assistant came in to report. "Mr. Gibson, we've counted the wolfdogs in the kennel behind the villa. There are 58 wolfdogs, 20 more than before, and none of them have had their teeth removed. After reviewing the surveillance footage, we found that someone sneaked in 20 more a few days ago. They caught the man, and he confessed that Julia hired him. He was paid $2,000 for each wolfdog he put in the kennel, totaling $30,000 from Julia. He said he had planned to release more, but he stopped because he was afraid of getting caught." Julia's face turned pale. She looked at Cyrus with an innocent expression. "This must be Evelyn's scheme. She must have bribed that man who released the wolfdogs. She's trying to frame me." Usually, as long as Julia gave him a little push, Cyrus would jump to conclusions and blame me without question. But this time, Cyrus acted completely out of character. He didn't show pity, and there was also a trace of disgust and disdain. Are you saying that Evelyn schemed to release the wolfdogs and somehow predicted that I was going to push Anna into the kennel to have her own daughter bitten to death? Julia, if I remember correctly, it was you who told me that Anna liked the zoo and hinted that there was a wolfdog kennel behind my villa, right? Julia's expression became so interesting as she finally realized that this time Cyrus was on our side. Yes, it was me who had the wolfdogs with teeth placed in the kennel, but don't forget, Cyrus, it was you who ignored Anna's desperate screams and pushed her into the kennel. You killed her. Julia's sharp words struck Cyrus, and in a fit of rage, he stormed over and grabbed her by the neck. She struggled for a long time before breaking free, a flash of hatred in her eyes. Ha ha ha, Cyrus, what did you say about ending the 5-year marriage agreement and dumping Evelyn once it's over? Are you lying to me? Or are you lying to yourself? 5 years ago, when we had a falling out, your family pushed you to marry Evelyn. She looks like that internet celebrity you liked in high school, right? I'll never forget the look of admiration and surprise on your face when you first saw her. Saying Evelyn stole my identity was just your excuse to not dump the penniless fake me publicly and just a pawn in your power struggle with your father. You're good at creating a persona for yourself. On one hand, you sleep with Evelyn and have a kid with her. On the other hand, you despise her for stealing my identity and claim you want to compensate me. Cyrus, you played both of us. You've only ever loved yourself. That bad woman was right. Cyrus, that selfish man, only loved himself. No matter how many tears he shed now, I wouldn't be deceived or moved. Cyrus's eyes turned cold with anger. I only pushed Anna into the wolfdog kennel to scare her. If you hadn't put those 20 wolfdogs with teeth into the kennel, Anna wouldn't have died, and Evelyn wouldn't have left me. Then he ordered the 20 wolfdogs with teeth to be captured and locked in the bathroom. I will personally avenge my daughter and my wife. Then he held a knife to Julia's throat, forcing her to push her and Elise into the bathroom. You and your daughter, choose one. I gasped and covered my mouth in shock as I watched through the surveillance. Cyrus must have lost his mind. Julia and Elise screamed and begged him, but when Cyrus pressed the blade deeper into Julia's neck and blood gushed out, Julia locked Elise inside. Outside the door, Julia dropped to her knees, sobbing and bowing her head as she begged Cyrus to let Elise go. From the bathroom came cries of terror, but Cyrus only sneered at Julia with contempt. I thought you'd sacrifice yourself for your daughter. Turns out you're just trying to survive like everyone else. Do you know why I can't help but be drawn to Evelyn? It's not just because she looks like that internet celebrity I used to stay up all night watching in high school. It's because she's kind, something neither of us ever were. My tears kept falling. He said he couldn't stop being drawn to me. Then what was all that coldness toward me and Anna for all these years? Julia couldn't take in any of his so-called confessions. She just kept bowing, begging Cyrus to spare Elise. A scream came from the bathroom and the door was quickly soaked in blood. Cyrus looked down at Julia. The moment you let those 20 wolfdogs into the kennel, you knew this would end with your own daughter paying the price. You've crossed the line, Julia. I could turn a blind eye to your petty tricks against Evelyn, even tolerate the games you played in front of me, but I will never allow you to harm her or Anna. Julia was a sobbing mess, and when Elise's broken, lifeless body was carried out, she almost lost her mind. Evelyn, it's all your fault. You stole everything from me and got my daughter killed. I'll never forgive you. Seeing that she still hadn't given up on hurting me, Cyrus kicked her to the ground and looked down at her coldly. If you dare go after Evelyn again, I'll bury you myself. Get out of my sight while I still don't feel like killing you." Cyrus's eyes were bloodshot as he dropped to his knees. "I've barely ever begged you in my life, let alone gotten on my knees. But this time I'm begging you, please tell me where Evelyn is. I can't lose her." On the 7th day after Anna's death, I stayed by the candle I lit for her. Julia stormed in, furious, and slapped the candle to the ground. She looked smug as she stared at the fallen candle on the floor. I didn't bother arguing with her on the 7th day after Anna's passing. I asked some church members to help kick her out, then relit Anna's memorial candle. But she suddenly lunged at me, trying to choke me. "You killed Elise, and now you're lighting a candle for Anna. You've ruined my life. You took my parents and Cyrus. Just die already." I don't know when Cyrus showed up, but he pushed. Julia looked down at her. "How dare you still cause trouble for Evelyn? This is your last chance to act up in front of her because I've already handed over the evidence of what you did to your adoptive parents' car to the police." I was shocked, my mouth hanging open. I couldn't believe Julia killed my parents. Even more shocking was that Cyrus had known the truth all along. Julia laughed hysterically, tears streaming down her face, as if waking from a long dream. "Cyrus, do you hate me so much that you want to drive me to the edge? Or is it that you love Evelyn so much that you're sending me to prison as a way to prove your loyalty to her?" Cyrus kept his gaze fixed on me. His words were sickening. "Evelyn, it's my fault. I let her push her daughter into the wild dogs, leading to her death. I've avenged our daughter. Julia will be arrested soon. I've removed all obstacles between us. I tore up that divorce agreement. Come back to me. Let me love you properly again, okay? I've always had feelings for you, but since my dad's affair killed my mom, I've been rebelling against him. The more he was fond of you and Anna, the more I pretended to hate you." I sneered sarcastically. "Don't try to blame your two-timing on wanting to rebel against your dad, so you ignored me and pretended to hate me." Cyrus hurried to explain. "It was because pretending to hate you couldn't fool my own heart. I thought staying tangled up with Julia was the only way to stop myself from falling deeper, for you to keep rebelling against my dad and to honor my deceased mom. But I was wrong. My resentment toward my dad and my desire to protect my mom shouldn't have shown in how I mistreated and neglected you and Anna. In the end, I'm the one who's at fault. Please give me a chance to make it up to you for the rest of my life." I looked at Cyrus coldly, unmoved. Julia, on the other hand, laughed like a madwoman, glaring at Cyrus with resentment. "Cyrus, so you knew all along that I tampered with my adoptive parents' car, but you didn't stop me, not because you loved me or because you hated Evelyn. You wanted to use my hands to make Evelyn's parents disappear, leaving her with no one to rely on. That way, she'd have to depend on you, right? You pretended to hate her, but deep down you were madly in love with her. You never wanted to end the 5-year agreement, did you? Cyrus, how could you do this to me?" So that's how it was. How could Cyrus do this to me? As I was lost in disbelief, Julia took out a shard of glass and aimed it at my neck. I froze, unable to react in time, but Cyrus shoved me out of the way. The glass shard in Julia's hand changed direction and stabbed into Cyrus's neck. In that instant, the sound of police sirens and ambulances filled the air. Julia was sentenced to 10 years in prison for intentional homicide. I went to visit my parents' graves and shared the news with them, asking them to look after Anna. But when I came back, the urn was gone. Was about to call the police when Father Eldridge told me to go to the amusement park to find Cyrus. It was Cyrus again. So persistent. What did he want? When I saw him at the amusement park, he was sitting on a carousel with a bandaged neck, talking to himself as he stared at the bulging crossbody bag in his lap. "Anna, I brought you to the amusement park. Are you happy? Are you having fun with me? You must be happy, right? It's all my fault for hurting you and Mommy, but I love you both so much, you know, my precious Anna." He must be crazy. When he finally got off the carousel, I rushed up and tried to grab the urn from his crossbody bag. I was afraid Anna's urn would break again, so I yelled at him, "Cyrus, you bastard! What the hell do you want?" You kept texting and calling, pestering me even after I blocked you, and told you there was no chance of us getting back together. What do you think you're doing? Stealing Anna's ashes? Cyrus looked guilty and carefully handed the urn to me. I've been having dreams lately. Anna is crying, chased by a wolfdog. Every time I manage to save her in the dream, she begs me to take you and her to the zoo and the amusement park. I was afraid you'd say no, so I took Anna's ashes without asking. I've already been to the zoo with her, and now I'm with Anna at the amusement park. His voice was choked with emotion, as if he'd lost the most important thing in the world. But it was all too late. I would never forgive him. I turned and walked away, hearing Cyrus's desperate voice from behind. "Evelyn, I know I was wrong. Can you give me a chance? Just thinking that you're not mine makes me feel like I'm dying inside. I was too immature and stubborn before, hiding my love for you and Anna. Please give me a chance to make it right. Once we're together, we can take Anna to the zoo and the amusement park and even travel out of the province or abroad." I said mockingly. "Travel out of the province or abroad? How come it was so hard for you to take Anna to the zoo when she was alive? Now that Anna's gone, neither she nor I care about any of those things. Cyrus, get out of my world. From now on, we'll never see each other again." After returning to the church with Anna's urn, Father Eldridge showed me a news article on his phone. Famous entrepreneur Cyrus Gibson, arrested for child abduction at amusement park, diagnosed with schizophrenia and sent to mental hospital. A month later, I saw news of Cyrus's death in the mental hospital, where he had reportedly bitten his tongue and taken his own life. The report mentioned that his bed was engraved with the names Evelyn and Anna. On the table where he often ate, he had carved, "In the next life, I will never fail you, my dearest Evelyn and Anna." Mike transferred all of Cyrus's assets to me, and I donated most of the money to children's welfare organizations. Even in the face of suffering, if we held on to life, there would always be a turning point.